Hello there and welcome to another video from Change Tips and Tools, and this is step 3 in the date checker working with dates series. So as always with this one, let's get straight to it. Let's do this. So this is where we left off last time in step 2, and a link to that video can be found in the description, and also a support file where we left off in step 2 can also be found in the description if you want to use that file instead of your own. Right, so now what we've done is we've created these calendars which are dynamic, and we now want them to appear as if by magic on our date checker. So what we need to do first of all is we need to get rid of the grid lines on here. So I'm going to do view and get rid of the grid lines, so I don't want any grid lines. The other thing that I'm going to do as well is on here, if we right click on this and I do column width, we've made these columns specific width 9.67. And remember, we copied this calendar, copy and pasted it here, and then we changed the formulas to reflect the previous and the next month. So what we need to do now is I'm just going to highlight those columns, hold down the control key and highlight those columns and do column width. And all I'm going to do is do 9.67 because I want them all to be exactly the same size, the same dimensions. Right, so they're all exactly the same. Now with that done, I am now going to take the selected, in fact no, let's take the previous one first. I'm going to take that and do control copy. I'm then going to go back to the date checker here. I'm going to get them to appear around here, and I'm going to right click on it, and what I'm going to do here as far as the paste options, special paste, click that, and I'm going to paste it as a linked picture like so. What I'm going to do is on the view on this, I'm just going to get rid of the grid lines as well, and there we go. Now as far as this is concerned, let's go to the format and let's make this, as far as the height, 6.7. Let's see what that looks like. There you go, so 6.69. Okay, that works. So that's the first one. Now let's go back to the date checker support sheet, and let's take the selected month, which needs to appear in the middle. I'm going to do control copy, go back to the date checker, and then here I'm going to, you can choose paste and paste link picture here as well from the ribbon. And again, I'm going to make the height here under the picture format. Let's go 6.69 then. That's funny, isn't it? That's gone to, so let's do 6.7. Thank you. 6.7. That's an oddity sometimes. There you go. And then let's take the final one, which is the next calendar. Let's select that, do control copy, and again here I'm just going to do paste special and paste it as a linked picture. And again, so if I enter 6.7 there you go, it goes to 6.9. So now what I'm going to do is, with that, I'm just going to hold down my shift key and select each one, and on the align, so on the picture format, I'm going to do align. I'm going to distribute horizontally, and then as far as that, I'm then going to align to the bottom, so they're now perfectly aligned like so. With that done, we now need to think about how we're going to make these visible and how we are going to hide and show them at the appropriate time. So first things we need to do is we need to give these all names. Now, if I select one of these, if I do Shift, Control A, so everything is selected, look, including this picture up here. So I'm going to do Control 1, because what we want to make sure on the properties is that these do not move or size with cells, and that they are locked. Yeah, you can print them, but they are locked. So that, with that done, I'm then going to select off them. Then on the home ribbon, on the find and select, I'm going to select the selection pane here. So these are all our shapes on here. So if I select this one here, it will highlight. So I'm just going to put a name for it. Header graphic, so I know what it is. Hit return. Then if I select this one here, you can see which one it is. So let's rename that so we know what it is. So I'm going to call it PRV for previous, and then type month. Hit return. I'm going to take this one, and again it's highlighted there, and this one I'm going to call it the selected month, like so, and hit return. And then this one finally should be the next month, and again I'm just going to click in here and rename it next month, and there you go. So with that done, I'm then going to create a button over here that I'm going to use to hide and or show the calendars. So I'm going to do insert, and I'm going to do a shape, and let's choose this one with the curved edges, and let me just draw it there. Wonderful. And let's take it as that green there, and I'm going to type show calendars as the text. And then on the home ribbon, I'm going to make it slightly bigger, so let's make that 20, bold, and let's do it middle and middle, like so. And then on the shape format, on the shape effects, I'm going to choose presets, and I'm going to choose this one here, the first one. Okay, so there we have show calendars. This is going to be our button, and if I select that again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this button view calendar. So let's just select that. That's a bit of a mouthful there, so let's do view calendar. Yeah, and hit return. And again, I'm just going to do Control 1 on that, because I want to make sure it doesn't resize. So I don't want it to move or size with cells. Perfect. And then close that down. Right. So now in here, I mean, I can choose this. So if I see the view calendar there, and if I hit that, see it disappears. And if I hit it again, it then reappears. So what we want to do is we want to create a macro that's fundamentally going to do that to all of these. So I'm going to right click on the date checker tab here and do view code. Next to the Excel icon up here, top left, I'm going to move to the right and do the drop down, and I'm going to select module. So I've got module 1's now appeared. I'm going to move down to the properties, and I'm going to rename that to a meaningful name and hit return. So I've called it MC Date Checker. There you are. I'm going to double click on that, and I'm now in the code window. So let's write our procedure. So I'm going to do sub And I'm going to call this show underscore hide underscore calendars and hit return. And there we go. So we've now created this sub procedure. So there's a few things to bear in mind here. So when I'm looking at this, and let's just hide these here. So we've got these visible. So over on the selection pane here, I'm going to hide these calendars like so. Got view calendar. I think we could put show calendar there, didn't we? Let's call this view here as well, make it consistent. So let's just do view calendars. Okay, so that's consistent with the naming of the button. But we've got that there now, and I'm just going to get rid of that because we don't need that selection pane up. The thing is that there's a few things that we need to check here in the flow. First, we need to make sure that they are selecting a cell that we want to check for a date. In other words, if they select this and they put a date in here, as in they type a date in as an activity, we don't want to confuse Excel and we don't want to confuse this. So what we want to make sure is that that they are selecting the right columns here where we expect to see a date, but also it's the right row range as well here. So that's first of all we need to make sure, and then we need to make sure, is there a date selected? Because they might select something blank and therefore we want to do something with that, and we're going to need a container to create something to put into the date checker support selected cell here, date selected. So we need to do something there. So that's what we need to check as far as the flow is concerned. So with that in mind, first of all, I'm just going to put some numbers up here because I don't want to keep counting the columns. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and then I'm going to drag that across as all the way across to this column here, which is the final column with the dates in. So that goes to column 20. I'm going to use that in a minute. So if I then go to my code window, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create some variables to deal with the fact there's no date there. So I'm going to do comments. So I'm going to do apostrophe to create a note. Always good practice to put notes in, because when you look later, at a later date, look back at your code and wonder what it was about, these notes can be a lifesaver. And plus, if anybody's trying to adapt your code, again, it helps them navigate through your code what you're trying to do. So I'm going to create some variables here. So to do that, I'm going to do dim. So I'm going to do my date as variant, and that's where I'm going to capture my date string in and then convert it to an actual date based on my local regional settings, and that'll make sense in a minute. I'm then going to declare my month a string, because this is going to be what I hold my month name in to create this. And then finally my year as long, like so, and I'm going to hit return. So those are my variables. Now eventually this is going to be hidden and this is going to be protected, and this workbook as a structure is going to be protected. So for the code to interact and make changes to this sheet and the button over here, and also to update the date selected, I need to take that protection off. But as I make it visible, I don't want to see Excel make it visible, make these changes and then rehide it. I want that to stay invisible to the user. And the way that I'm going to do that, so if I go back to my code, is that I want to here I want to release the protection, and I want to stop screen updates. Yeah, so that's what I want to do. So let's write that little bit of code to do that. So to unprotect the structure of the workbook, active workbook dot unprotect. And there you go, it's that simple. Now, I've said in previous videos, putting password protection on your workbook protection and your sheet protection, I personally feel is a waste of time, because you can buy legal apps that will just remove that protection. And if you're dealing with really confidential information, then the encryption on Excel is just not appropriate. I'm using it to protect the structure and the format and the formulas within my templates. That's where I'm using protection, so the user doesn't accidentally damage them. Yeah. So, but as far as confidential information, it's not appropriate encryption and the protection within Excel. So just bear that in mind. So let's unprotect the actual sheet as well. So I'm going to do active sheet dot unprotect. There you go. And then the screen updating. So the way that we do that, it's application dot screen updating equals false. So now we won't see that hide and unhide activity happening on the screen, which is a bit messy for the user. So now we've done that, we now need to check the button status, because we're going to use the same button to either hide or show the calendars. So when the calendars are hidden, we want to do that, view calendars that we've set it to, so it's there, and we click it and it will make the calendars visible. Or then when that happens, we want to change the text in the button to hide calendars, so then it knows that we need to hide them. So I'm going to do another note here, check view calendar, because that's the name of the shape that we gave it. That's the name we gave it, remember? Calendar button status. I'm using that apostrophe mark just to put a note here. So the first thing that we're going to do here then is that we're going to check the status of that button. So we're going to use an if statement here. So as far as the if statement, we're going to do if, and we're going to go active sheet, and then we're going to use the shapes piece here. So we're going to do shapes, and remember we called it an open bracket and then type in the name of that shape, which is view calendar in quotation marks. So that shape, then we want to refer to the text within that. So again, this is a bit long-winded, so again I'm going to do full stop after that, and it's going to be text frame 2 dot text range dot characters dot text. That's what we're checking. I'm going to do if that equals view calendars, yeah, then we're going to do something. I'm going to hit return. I'm just going to do an end if here, just to put a bookend to that if statement, and then let's just do a couple of spaces there, or returns there, just to move that down. So the next thing that we're then going to check then is if it's got if it is view calendar, then we need to check if it's if a date has been selected, and then update selected accordingly. So I'm just going to do a tab here to indent it, and I'm going to do apostrophe. So we want to check if date, yep, Now, because I don't want to keep going back and forth here, let's remember we put those numbers here. So what we need to check as far as the columns are concerned, we've got column 5, column 10, 15, and 20. So that's 5, 10, 15, and 20. So I go back to my code here. I'm just going to put a note in here. I'm going to do columns, just so I don't have to keep going backwards and forwards, with dates is 5, 10, 15, and 20. Yeah. Now let's just check the rows. So again, I'm just going to select that row then to do delete, hit the delete key just to clear out that sequence there. And as far as the rows are concerned, it's from row 5 to row 24, yeah? So let's go back to the code. So my rows with dates is 5 to 24. Okay, so now we've got that as a note. So the first thing we're going to do then is that we'll check if we are within that row range, yeah? So 5 to 24. And the way that I'm going to do that is if active cell, so the cell that we've got selected, yeah, dot row is, I'm going to do space, is greater than or equal to 5, and so I'm using the AND function, so both of these have got to be true. So active cell, typo, dot row is less than or equal to, yeah, it's less than or equal to 24, then we're going to do something. As in, we're going to check the columns, and then I'm just going to do space. I'm going to do return and then do end if and return again. So that's the row. So now let's put the check for the columns. So this will be if active cell dot column. That one there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this because I want to keep typing this out. Control copy equals, so first of all it's 5, or active cell equals, so this is an also if it's true on any of these conditions, then we can proceed. So it's then 10 or equals 15, and then finally or equals 20, then we're going to do something. I'm going to hit return, and again I'm just going to do an end if to bookend that. Boom. So now again, if I'm selected there, I would imagine it should just skip that. So let's see what happens. So let's do F8 to step through the code. It's fine. That's fine. So now, because it's outside of that, I'm expecting it to jump this and go straight to end if. Yes, and that's fine. Cool. Okay. So if this is true and we get to this point, I want to check if there's a date in the cell. So I'm going to do here, check if there is cell, yeah? So that's what I'm going to do. So we've established we're in the right row range and the right column range. So now, and again, I'm just going to tab that just to indent and keep this clean. So, and the way that we are now going to check, and the way that we do that is again another if statement, I'm going to use the isDate function. So isDate, so this will return true or false. So if active cell.value, close that bracket, then we're going to do something. So again, I'm just going to do an end if, just to bookend that as well. So we're saying here, if it's true, then a date found has been found. Yep. So here, what we need to do is we need to do a few things here. So imagine, so we need to make sure that the sheet for the date checker support is visible. So the way that we do that, and again, I'm just going to indent this just to make it cleaner. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is sheets. So the date checker support, there's the name there. So again, in quotation marks, visible equals true. So basically, I've just done an unhide on that sheet there, so it's visible. So we can now change the selected date cell, and the selected date cell is B7. Yeah, so that's B7, right? So go flick it back to here, and I am flicking it back to here because I need to make sure, because it's doing some checks here as well. And I'm just going to go back to here, so when I run the code, it's not doing it from the date checker support sheet. Okay, because if I do it, for example, if I do it on the, if I have that, if we go to here just as an example, and there we've got this, right, and I've selected this sheet, right, and if I then go back to my code, do F8, step through, I'm going to get an error as soon as I hit this. And the reason I'm getting that error is because that shape does not exist on the date checker support. So whenever I'm doing this, I just make sure, I'm just going to end that. I'm just going to make sure that on here that I'm running it from this sheet, because that's where we're going to be clicking this button. Yeah, just bear that in mind. So back to the code, to making that example. So we're going to make the date checker support visible. We're then going to change that cell, which was B7. So sheets, again, I don't want to type that out, so I'm lazy, so I'm just going to take this here, copy it, and then paste, and then I'm going to do full stop, range, open bracket, put B7 in quotation marks, then dot value equals the active cell value, because it's a date. And hit return. And then once I've done that, I'm going to take this, Control copy, and then just re-hide that sheet. And again, just to reiterate, because we've set the screen updating to false, you won't actually see that happening. You won't see it happening because the screen won't update accordingly. Now, the only thing that we need to now check here is that what happens if a date isn't found. So we need to put an else statement. So if that's not true, what do we do? So I'm going to do else there, and then I'm going to put on this here, I'm going to put a comment where I'm saying no date found. What do we do? And this is where we need to use our variables. So again, I'm going to make this here, I'm going to copy it, Control copy, because I am going to make that visible. Yeah. And then once I've done something, I'm then just going to paste that again. I'm going to make it invisible, as in I'm going to hide it again. So put a false there. So let's take those two. So the first thing now, this is where we're going to use our variables, my month, my year, my date. So first thing we need to do is I want to get the month. So, and I'm going to use the current system date, today's date fundamentally. And the way that we do that in VB is I'm going to go my month equals month name. So I'm using the month name function. I'm going to do open bracket, yeah, and I'm going to use the month function. Again, I'm going to do open bracket, and I'm going to use the date function, which will return today's date fundamentally. So I'm going to do date, close the bracket on the month, and then I'm going to close the bracket on the month name function, and I'm going to hit return, and there you go. So we now got my month equals that. Now in a minute, so we're not going to do anything here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this here, I'm going to highlight it, and then I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to say add to watch. Yeah, and that's my expression. I'm going to click OK. And you can see that this watch window's appeared now. So I'm just going to move this over, make it a little bit bigger. So you've got my month, it's got no value in it, it's empty, etc. Okay, nothing's happened. So again, if I just select one of these cells, it's got no date, I'm going to force this condition to happen. And again, if I then go to my code window, I'm going to do F8. I'm going to tab all the way through. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's going to say, is there a date? It's going to say no. It's going to go straight to here. It's going to make that visible. And then as soon as I tab that, watch what happens to this here. And you can see it's picked up July from today, and that's what we want. So we can see that that's working. That's fine. And I'm just going to press play there. So it just plays the rest of the code out. So that's fine. That works. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is my year. So my year equals, I'm going to use the year function. So year, and again, I'm going to use today's date. So use the date function there and return. And again, I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to add it to the watch and do OK. So I can just see the values, and we'll step through that code. Then now we need to piece all that together using the our my date. So I'm going to do my date equals. Now, especially this is useful to know if you're using something across multiple regions. So I'm going to use the cdate function. So what this does, it takes a string. So for example, if we take, today's date is, for me, is the 24th, let's take 24th of July, 2024. So that'll be 24 July 2024 as a string. And CDate will then save that based on the regional settings. So here in the UK, that will be 24/07/2024, i.e. day, month, and then year. Yeah. If you're in America, for example, it would then save that the 24th of July as 07/24/2024, i.e. month, day, and year, if that makes sense. And that's what the CDate does. It converts that string to the local region setting. So to get that, what we're going to do is we're going to piece all these things together. And what we're going to do is, first of all, I want the first day of the month, which is going to be 01 in quotation marks. I'm then going to do a space, do the ampersand. I want my month. I'm going to do a space and do the ampersand. and then I'm going to do a space. I want a space between the my, month and year, so I'm just going to do a space in quotation marks and do the ampersand again, and then I'm going to do my year. Yeah, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the bracket on that C date, and I'm going to hit return. So again, I'm going to take my date, I'm going to right click on it and add that to my watch like so, and click OK. All right, so let's run that code again. This is what we'll be, because we've got a blank, so there's no date in that cell, it's within the range. Let's just run that. I'm going to do step through it, F8 function 8 key to step through my code all the way through. It jumps. So let's watch these values here. So we've got variance empty. It's declared. I've declared these. So my month becomes July. My year becomes 2024. And let's see what happens to my date now. And we get an error. And the reason that we get an error is, again, we've got to be careful here. See this here? There's no space after that. As soon as I do a space, look what happens. Well, then fine. And there you go. So it's now returned the 1st of July 2024 based on my system. So that's where you've got to be careful. And again, everything else is fine. Press play to close that out. So now that we're happy with that and the way that that works, the only thing I need to do now is I need to set this value here. Yeah. So I'll just take that and copy it. Control copy. I'm going to paste that there, and I'm just going to make it equal my date, like so. And then I'm just going to wipe these here and do delete, just make it neat and tidy. So we've got if a date's found, if no date's found, right. So we've done that as far as this is concerned. So I want to add an else statement now on, or if the column is not right, I'm going to do an else there. And all I'm going to do is just repeat this here. So if I do control copy, I'm just going to do a tab there to indent it. I'm going to do control V. I'm just going to highlight these. I'm going to hold the shift button and then do the tab key just to pull it back one as far as the indenting is concerned. So now if it's not the right column, then again we'll do this as far as the procedure concerned. In other words, as if there's no date there. And then finally we want the else statement, yeah, on this piece here. So if the row is not right, and again I'm just going to take this, we can just paste that in, do control, I'm going to tab it to indent it, do control V, and again I'm just going to highlight these rows, do shift and tab, and shift and tab again, and there you go. So now we've done the value setting where we've set the appropriate date for the selected date so the calculations work. So now this is done, right? We need to now to make everything visible. So we've done all the dates. So now we need to, on this, I'm just going to go one tab here, indent, is we need to make and the way that we do that, so we're going to make all the calendars visible and update the button text accordingly. So how do we do that? So again, it's active sheet dot shapes, yeah, open brackets. The first one's going to be the selected month. So again, write down on a notebook what you've called these things. So the first, the selected month. So I'm going to do it in quotation marks, selected month. That's the first calendar shape in quotation marks. Close that bracket, do full stop, and then I'm going to do visible equals MSO, Microsoft Office true setting, and hit return. I'm going to take that and just copy it because I'm going to keep typing all that out. Control copy. I'm going to do Control V. So the next one's going to be the previous month. So let's just change that to be PREV month. Then the next will be the next month. Yeah. So we've then got the next month there. And once I've done that, I then want to change the button. So I'm going to do active. In fact, I don't want to type it all out. So let's go all the way up here, and where we've got this button here, I'm going to take this bit here. I'm going to do copy. I'm going to do Control V, and I'm going to change this text to be hide calendars. And there you go. Now, so if it equals, if it does equal view calendars, then fine, we're going to do all this. But what happens if it doesn't equal view calendars? So I'm going to do an else statement on that and do return. And fundamentally, what we need to do, if we're not going to view the calendars, we don't do any of that. We just need to hide the calendars that are on show here. So again, I'm going to do hide accordingly. There we go. So I'm going to hide the calendars and update button text accordingly. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this here. Yeah. I'm going to do Control copy. Control V. I'm going to change all these to be MSO false. And I'm going to change the button to be view calendars. So now that we've done all that, we need to reapply the protection and set the screen updating to be true. So, and the way that we're going to do that, so let's just put again another note, so reapply. Yeah. There you go. Reapply protection, update screen updating. And the way that we do that is I'm going to do active workbook first. So we protect the structure. Dot protect. So it's going to be structure colon equals true, comma, Windows colon equals false. Hit return. Structure equals true. Yeah, wonderful. And then I want active sheet dot protect. There's no password. And then finally switch on the screen updating. So that's application dot screen updating equals true. There you go. There's our code. So with that done, I'm going to just delete these, delete the watch because we know those work. Get rid of that window. Fine. So I'm going to do debug compile and just hit save. That looks fine. And then I'm going to go to my window. So let's just do some tests here. So we've got 3rd of July selected there. And we've got view calendars. So let's just, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this button I'm going to assign a macro and this workbook, select it and do show hide calendars and do OK. Hit return. Well, not hit return, just click OK. And then I'm going to, with that cell selected, I'm going to then do view calendars and let's see what happens. There you go. We've got the 3rd of July is visible. There's the adjustment date and there's the current date. Yeah. And if I then go to hide calendars, gone. If I've got nothing selected, it's blank, and I go over to here and do view calendars, then it's simply doing an adjustment based on the 1st of July, i.e. from the system date. And there's the current date. And I click hide calendars. So that is where I'm going to end this video for step 3. In the next video, we will look to add a key and also the ability to reset the contents. So say for example you've filled all this out and then you want to start again, we're going to do a bit of code here on how to reset the content, and that will be in the next video. So I hope you found that informative. That was a lot of Visual Basic, but I hope you learned something from that, and if so, please remember to click that like, subscribe and smash that notifications button for future content. And as always, I wish you an absolutely wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Please take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video from Change, Tips and Tools. Bye bye now.